Hello and welcome back. I'm Demis Hellen and I'm back with another 3-part series looking at the core features of Cubase 14. We're going to be looking at the drum machine and in specific how to synthesize our own drum parts, and that's going to be this episode. In the second episode, we're going to be looking at the pattern editor and how we can utilize that to build our tracks using different parts. And then finally, we're going to look at the modulators and how we can quickly attach those modulators to any parameter within the Cubase ecosystem and how we can get quick, easy results. So without further ado, let's jump into the first episode. So here we are in Cubase 14. You can see I've already got my drum synth loaded here at the bottom, but if you need to load this and you're not sure, just right click on your arranger and add drum track. And when you add this, you'll get the option to choose between a pattern event or a MIDI part. I'm going to show you how to use the pattern events in the next video. So I've got pattern event selected, which is this here in the middle in yellow. So you can use this as a sampler, you can use it as a traditional sampler and make a nice little drum machine out of it. And I show you how to use that with samples in my dynamic processing video that I did for Cubase a while back. So you can check that out in the description after this video. But what we're focusing on here is generating our own sounds today. And we're going to generate a kick drum. And you can see here at the bottom that we've got this kick cymbal, and then we've got 4 different kick drums in this category. If you want to generate a snare, for example, you can do it there, hi-hats, toms, claps, all the way up to adding a sample. So we're going to focus on the kicks, and we're going to load all 4 in, and I'm going to show you what they all sound like. So kick number 1, kick number 2, 3, and 4. They all have very different starting points and very different characters to begin with. So I'm just going to show you what they sound like and just a few tweaks so you can hear what they do. Let's mute that one and go to kick number 2. And that's kick number 2, very nice for house stuff. It's got that really nice house vibe to it. Kick number 3. That's kick number 3. And then kick number 4, which is my personal favorite, and this is the one we're going to use in this video, which is based on FM synthesis, and it just gives you that nice knocky sound that you attribute to sort of like melodic techno or techno in general as a genre. And that's not where it stops. So we're going to be using kick 4 today, but then we can jump into the pad effects and we can add a plethora of effects here, from bit crushing, distortion, filtering, and equalizing, as well as a soft and hard limiter as well. And that is all we need to shape this kick. So we're going to delete all of these kicks. I'm just going to use one layer. We're going to choose kick 4 because I want to use the FM, and I'm going to show you a really quick way to get to a kick. So it's going to go a little bit quiet at one portion of the video whilst we're doing some of the EQing. I'll warn you at that point, so you can just turn it up a little bit, and then I'll warn you when that's going to get louder again. And the first thing that we're going to do here is tune this kick. So I'm going to put on the gate option here. So it's just going to truncate that kick and keep it nice and tidy. So it's not like an 808. It's just going to have a nice tidy punch. And I'm going to turn down the FM ratio here. That's pretty much all I'm going to do. I'm just going to turn it down to tune that knocking sound. And I think that's all we need to do there. Yeah. So we've got the sound that I want, but we need to shape it with a bit of EQ now. So straight to the point, you can see just tuning the FM ratio. I've got what I want here for this tutorial, but you can have a mess around with all the other settings and get the sound that you want. So let's just check the accent here as well. So the reason the accent's not working as well there is just because the ratio is a little bit lower. If you want it to work a little bit more efficiently, turn that ratio up to get a bit of a tighter kick. But I'm going to go for that, and I'm going to jump into the pad effects here. So this is where it's going to get quiet, because what I'm going to do is lower this level on here. So that is the same as this level here. So I'm just going to lower it to about the 2 o'clock position to stop any clipping and anything nasty coming through, because that can affect how you're going to be shaping this kick. And I'm going to turn on the EQ, and we're going to have some distortion after it. Leave that off. And what I'm going to do is pick the boxy sections. So this is the quiet bit where you can turn this up. I'm going to pick the boxy section, and I'm going to pick the presence area with 2 and 3. So the boxy area is typically between that 100 to 200 mark, and we can't stray away from this just because this is something that we remove in production a lot of the time, or control in production. When it comes to sound design, we need to actually make this work in these areas. Then the knock-in sound is going to be around 500. So I'm just trying to isolate those peaks so that they are sort of like just contained within the band frequency or the range that I want, sort of spreading out from 500. So we could probably get away with just pushing this a bit higher. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to crank up the limiter, but first I'm going to switch this to hard, and this is where the volume is going to get louder again, so I'm just warning you now. And then I'm just going to crank this level back up. And then I'm going to add some distortion on here. And all I'm going to do here is just turn the mix down. Just increase that drive a bit. And we've got our first kick drum. So nice and easy, nice and quick, and we've got the result that we want. So let's get this matched in level now. So I've got the output here to the left turned down quite a way just because of the clipping issues. We can just turn this up now and see what's going to happen with the mix. So I'm just going to bring in the hats and percussion that I've got in here. So we can control the length of it. So you can hear that gets rid of that digital artifact and there's just a little bit too much drive coming from the sound, and you can see it's reacting to the shape of the kick there. And you can hear we've got a really nice, tight little punchy kick drum there, and it works really well. So let's just have a listen to it in context just briefly, and then I'll show you how we can get a clap in here as well. That's working really nice. Just to say that we've just synthesized that in probably less than 5 minutes. That is really nice for that. And I truly didn't know the outcome of that just based off it being isolated. So you can see what we can do there. I'm going to show you in the effects here, we can add the bit crushing on there as well. So if you want to simulate, say, like a 909, you could limit the bit rate to 28,000, I think it is, for those samples, and get some realistic hats and things when you're making those. So that's little tips for you there. Maybe another video in the future. And just to bring your attention before we make this clap, if this kick drum wants to be processed separately, because everything goes through one channel, so if you add all of those pads, if you fill them all up with sounds you've generated, they're all going to come out of the master out. And in this group section, we can actually choose the output. So we could say that that kick drum comes out of out number 2, and then you can process it separately with your effects chain that you'd normally process a kick with if you wanted to do so. We also have the option here to limit it to certain keys. So the kick drum only operates on one key, so C1 in this case. We can also control the level and panning, as well as the delay and reverb mix. So the delay part of things, we can actually add an intriguing techno aspect to this, a very simple one, which you might overthink, but it's really simple here. So what I'm going to do is mix this delay in here. And I was just wondering where that sound was coming from. It's the bit crushing. Just turn that off. You can see, get that rolling drive. And if you want to control the frequencies in the delay, and there we are. You can change the pattern, the timing, the mode. Is it forward? Is it backwards? Is it ping pong? You got all them options there, but you can sort of automate that in and out. And we can even use the modulators, which is going to be in the video after the next, where we can automate those parameters to come in and out during the track or just on an automated basis, so that you get a nice little pattern out of it. So there we are. That is how to generate the kick drum. And that brings this video to an end. I will look forward to seeing you all in the next episode, where we're going to be looking at the pattern editor.